If you've ever wasted 20 minutes looking for something you know you saved, but you can't find it, this video is going to change everything for you. Now, let me tell you about the time it wasn't just 20 minutes for me. It actually turned into almost 4 hours. And maybe you can relate to this. Years ago, I was wanting to put together a photo album for my parents, and I needed very specific pictures. But I began to realize that because the way technology shifted with pictures, I had some that were in print that I needed to figure out how to scan. Then the bulk of the pictures, some were on an old hard drive. Others were saved physically on my computer, and then a whole bunch of them were sitting there in iPhoto on my phone. And I'm sitting there clicking through all of these things, folder for after folder, trying to find what I was looking for. And there was three specific photos that took me almost 4 hours to find. While I, finally got there, I was exhausted. And I realized this is not going to be a sustainable long-term thing. And that's when it hit me. The problem wasn't necessarily that I didn't have a system because things were clearly labeled, they were stored, they were in folders. The problem was I had multiple systems, meaning there was a system for when it was on an external hard drive. There was a system I was now using for the photos that were on my phone. I had a system for what was on my desktop, but there were too many systems. Nothing was centralized. And so today I'm going to share with you one key principle that has changed everything for me when it comes to organizing digital information. And I guarantee you, this is likely creating chaos for you in your life right now. Here is the underlying principle when it comes to centralization. For every single type of information you have, it should be in one and only one place. Not two, not maybe three, or 90% of the time one and 10% of the time over here. Each information type needs to have one place. Now, to clarify, I'm not saying that all of your digital information needs to live in one app. That would be ridiculous. It would not be efficient. But what I'm saying again is that for each type of information, it should live in one and one place only. For example, all of those digital photos, they should be in one place, not like how my life was before, right? So, for example, if you're an iPhone user, all your photos should be in the Apple Photo app. If you're an Android user, put them all in Google Photos as an example. If you are scanning receipts, all of those receipts should be in one place, not some in Evernote, some in OneDrive, some in Google Drive, some stored on the hard drive on your computer. One central place that all the receipts go to. That's what this underlying concept of centralization is. Because I want you to understand here's what happens, and you might be living this when you don't have centralization in place. You spend more time looking for your information than you actually spend using the information that you're looking for. If it took you an hour and a half to find the recipe for the thing that you cooked in 15 minutes, right? That was a lot more time looking than actually doing. If you're checking multiple places trying to remember where you saved the thing, because you've got screenshots and email attachments and all of that, and you're thinking, I know I put this somewhere, all of that searching, it's not only wasting time, it is wasting precious mental energy. And that is actually causing more overwhelm, which is then making it even harder once you find the thing to get into action on actually doing it. Right. So I want to give you some examples of what it looks like in real life when you really start to bring this concept of centralization into play when it comes to helping you organize information. So again, back to the photo example, because I know a lot of people feel this as a pain point. Pick the one place that all your digital photos go and pick one that makes the most sense for you. Because I'm an Apple user, I'm not going to go put all my photos into Google Photos. It doesn't make sense for me. Now, if you are a full-on Android user, it's probably not going to make sense for you to store all of your photos on Apple's photo platform, The other thing that I want you to think about is now is not the time to go, well, let me find a new app. What are you already using that you like? And then that's going to be your centralization. So, photos, easy, low hanging fruit. Maybe you're somebody that does like to capture a lot of recipes. Do you have bookmarks saved? Maybe you've got a Pinterest board. Maybe you've got screenshots on your desktop, screenshots on your phone. Maybe you emailed yourself something, right? Well, pick one place that you're going to put all of those recipes. I like to save mine on a Trello board. Maybe it's a Google Drive and you're like, oh, I'm just going to dump everything in there. Maybe it's a Google document where you just copy and paste the links of all the recipes that you find, right? The idea is one place so that when you're like, hey, I'm inspired to go cook that new thing, you know exactly where you're going to find it. Receipts is another great one to start with. If you're scanning receipts or saving receipts through email, where is the one place you're going to put them? Are they all going to go into one Google Drive? Are they all going to go into OneNote? Are they all going to go into Evernote? There's no wrong answer, but it needs to be one in one place. Now, here's some subtle ones that come up. If you're like me, I'm always learning. I like to listen to podcasts, learn from books. I invest in buying courses online to learn things. Anytime I am taking notes on courses or workshops, right? Things that, oh, I'm going to need to remember how to do this, all of those get written up into a Google document that live in Google Drive, right? I'll create a Google document for each thing and they're all in one central folder so that I know when the time comes to implement the thing that I'm learning, I know exactly where to go. I'm not looking in 3 different notebooks or the workbook that I printed off, right? I'm not trying to remember where did I put all of that. Another thing to think about is, especially if you run a business and you needing to capture how to do something, right? Anytime we're documenting a how to, or what's considered an SOP, a standard operating procedure here at the Pink Bee, they all go exactly into our project management system under our standard SOPs. So if anyone's looking for how to do something in support of the business, we all know exactly where to go to find that. So I've just given you an example where there's multiple places of storage, right? We use ClickUp for our SOPs, Google Drive for course notes. Maybe you're using Evernote for your receipts, maybe Trello for your recipes, iPhoto for your apps. So again, it's not one tool for all digital information, but for each type of information, one and one only central place that it goes. Now, you might be thinking, Megan, this is so obvious, right? It's not that big of a deal. I can search technology. But here's what I want you to understand. Every time you can't find something, your stress level goes up. Your frustration goes up. You start to feel like, I've got to get moving on to the next thing, right? Every single time you're trying to figure out where it is, you are pulling from good decision-making energy for the day. You're also adding friction to your day. And if you're anything like me, the last thing I need is more friction in my day. And every time you think, you know what, I'm just going to take that screenshot and I'll clean it up later. Do you have a system in place for cleaning it up later? Or are you better off taking the extra 10 seconds to put it where it needs to go today? Because you need to understand scattered information isn't just about being disorganized. It is actively working against you. It is making you feel overwhelmed. It is stealing your mental energy. And the beautiful thing is, once you start to centralize your key pieces of information, all of that unnecessary extra stress, anxiousness, etc., it just falls away. All the time that you waste searching for things, you get that time back. You stop feeling like you're constantly forgetting something because you just know where it is. I can remember after I went through consolidating all of my photos into the one place, there have been times where I've wanted to create little, fun memories for my sisters. I can go right into the one place and easily find what I'm looking for, right? I could, depending upon how you like to organize your information, totally up to you. But it wasn't this 3-hour scavenger hunt to try and find the photo that I wanted to. I want to kind of give you a plan to follow, an action plan, if you will, to help you get started on this. Because here is the biggest thing that prevents people from putting this into place. You think that you have to clean up all the old digital clutter before you start implementing your new one central place. And I'm here to tell you, do not do that. Because if you think that you can't start this until you've cleaned up all the old digital chaos, you will never get started. Here's how you're going to get started today. Number one is to think through what are the main categories of digital information that you are using on the regular, right? Like maybe you don't save recipes. Well, then the recipe thing doesn't work for you. But think about it. Is it notes? Is it photos? Whatever it is, think through what your categories are and write them all down. Then for each one, decide what is the one place I am going to put this moving forward? And if you're not sure which one to pick, ask yourself in the moment, where would be the first place I would look? And that's likely going to be your answer. So, for instance, if you're thinking about photos, you're like, well, where would you start first? Well, I'd go to Google Photos. And that's probably where that needs to be your central place moving forward. Or if it's, I'd probably put that in Google Drive. Well, then let's make that your starting point moving forward for where that type of information is going to go. Then draw a line in the sand and say, from this date moving forward, anytime I have a new photo or anytime I'm typing up notes from a course or whatever it is, that is where it's going to live. Okay, so from this date forward, this is your new information hub, if you will. Then you can tell yourself, anytime I have to go find old information elsewhere that now I need, in that moment, I will move it over to the new system. You can set up your new system and start using it, and then give yourself permission over time to start bringing the stuff that lived in the old places over to the new ones only if you need it. Because this might also allow you to realize you've been saving a lot of digital stuff that you really don't need anymore. And so don't waste your time and energy trying to clean up old stuff first, set up the system and start using it. And then as needed, you can bring these things over there. Now, this centralization is so critical to helping to increase productivity, decrease overwhelm and stress. This is actually one of the 9 key components inside of my proprietary time management framework called the TOP framework. TOP stands for time management, organization, and productivity. And inside of the organization pillar, centralization is one of the 3 key components there. And it's all about centralizing information overload. So if you are interested in learning more about this TOP framework and the program that now tens of thousands of women have gone through, please feel free to head over to thetopprogram.com. You can get all the information about it there. Here's what I want you to know. You're not failing at organization, all right? Technology has changed and shifted so much that it's kind of like we're absorbing as we're going. And now we're at this point where we've got kind of digital chaos everywhere that it is never too late to put a system in place. Once you really embrace and adhere to this idea of centralization, it is one of the most elegantly simple things that is going to have a massive ripple effect, a good ripple effect in your life. So friends, feel free to start small. Just pick one category of information this week that you're going to decide where it's going to live and then make the commitment that that is what you're doing moving forward. And you will start to feel that control coming back almost immediately. Happy organizing, happy centralization, and most importantly, friends, happy planning.